In May of this year, the Hawaiian voyaging canoe Hokulea will begin the longest and most challenging of her many remarkable voyages. Hokulea will sail south to Tahiti, then continue through Polynesia to New Zealand, the north coast of Australia, and on to the Indian Ocean. Then she'll set sail for South Africa and the Cape of Good Hope. From South Africa, Hokulea will voyage across the South Atlantic to Brazil, then up the east coast of the U.S., back down through the Panama Canal, and home to Polynesia and Hawaii in 2017. Why? To share and to learn. If a 21st century world is to have any chance of a viable future, it is going to take tremendous effort. Hokulea's mission is to chart a new course towards sustainable practices for energy, food, and the environment by sharing Hawaiian knowledge and skills, then bringing home what we learn from others along the way. So where do you start when preparing to sail around the globe in two very small boats? With the basics, and that means dry dock.
Safety is the primary motivating factor in everything that we do on the boats. We actually took every single piece of wood, every single item apart. We wanted to make absolutely sure that after 36 years of sailing, that she was going to be in at least as good a shape as she was when she was first launched.
If you took the canoe all apart, you just have all these pieces laying all over the place, a big puzzle. And you put the puzzle together, but what holds it together, there is no glue, there are no nails, there's no screws. There's over 6 miles of cordage that holds her together. It's all lashing. That technology is like thousands of years old. It's very strong, it can withstand tremendous pressures.
We have made arrangements for New Zealand, Cape Town, South Africa, and Miami, Florida, to actually dry dock the boat again. The other reason that we haul out at that time is that we're trying to watch the weather, which is probably the single biggest factor that we look at. We're going to haul out during New Zealand's winter so that when spring comes, we can then go across the top of Australia and on our way to Cape Town.
Hokulea does not travel alone. Always within line of sight will be her sister canoe, Hikianalia. She's a traditional Polynesian voyaging canoe reimagined as a 21st century high-tech science and communications platform.
Hikianalia now is all a modern boat, and she's built out of foam composite, much the same as your surfboards are. Hikianalia will have all of the electronics necessary to do all of our live stream videos, all of our emergency broadcasting should we need it. Her engines are electric. We have a lot of solar panels on board that energize lithium-ion batteries that allow us to use electric motors as our primary propulsive force when we need to use the motors.
Hikianalia is also a floating laboratory. In partnership with scientists at the University of Hawaii, her crew will study hydroponics, fish populations, plankton, water quality, and marine acoustics.
The University of Hawaii, they're letting us borrow one of their microphones, which we've attached to the hull of the canoe. So throughout the voyage, we'll be recording the ocean and listening for whales, dolphins, even small shrimp while in port. There's a bunch of awesome teachers and scientists that are helping us come up with different lessons that teachers throughout the world can hopefully share with their classes.
Selecting the right crew is essential, and it takes a unique combination of seamanship and social skill to be chosen for this voyage.
I believe there's about 1,200 crew members in Hawaii, and many, many more spread out through the Pacific. And from that pool, there's a few hundred that get to go on different legs going around the world.
All of the crew are volunteers. They're from all walks of life. They have to be dedicated because there's many, many hours long before they ever get to go to sea that are spent in training. You have to picture 14 to 15 people on a platform about 55 feet long, 14 feet wide for 3 to 4 weeks, and the interaction that takes place between those people. So it's more than just being a good sailor. You have to be a good human, and you have to know exactly what's expected of you because you're going to expect that of them, the other crew members.
6-foot by 3-foot sleeping compartments run the length of both sides of the deck. Each crew member is allowed one 48-quart cooler in which to store all their belongings. Boards and sleeping pads are placed over the coolers to create bunks.
It's kind of like camping in a tent, and then there's a canvas that goes over the top. So on Hokulea, you might get a little wet, especially if it's rough, but on Hikianalia, it's dry.
As you might guess, privacy is hard to come by, so crew members do their best to accommodate each other's needs. Hikianalia has an onboard bathroom. Hokulea has none.
We use salt water to take showers. We have no hot water, so you take a quick cold shower. We have special soaps that will lather up in salt water. We don't have enough fresh water to allow crew to use the fresh water to even rinse their hair. The voyages that we've been on, when we've been lucky enough to go through rain squalls, however, all the crew will come up. They will have their shampoo in hand and they will be ready to take their shower as soon as the squall hits.
The workday is divided into 3 shifts, with each person standing a 4-hour watch twice a day, with 8 hours off in between. Not only will crew members help in sailing the boat, but they will be assigned specialized duties ranging from electronics and communications to rigging and sail repair.
One of my kuleanas on board, or responsibilities on board Hokulea, is to be a cook. Right now we're in the process of doing a lot of food preparation, and we're doing dehydration, we're doing some pickling. So all of these different techniques that our ancestors, they were doing also as they traveled, we're relearning these techniques.
For a 30-day leg, about 2,000 pounds of food come aboard, and about 1.5 tons of fresh water for drinking and cooking will be stored in 5-gallon plastic containers. Each crew member is allotted 1 gallon per day. Fresh fruits and vegetables are replenished at each port of call and last for about 10 days.
Space is limited. All of our meals are all pre-planned and pre-packed. Our foods can come out of dehydrated packets, canned fruits or vegetables. We do tofu, rice and beans, noodles, and then if we catch a fish on board, that's always exciting. Then the whole menu changes. We have a 2-burner propane stove, which is in a box. We're exposed to the element. One of the things we need to do is move the box. We need to make sure that the lid can be a windbreak.
The evening meal is a good one because when we eat, everyone eats. It's also time for fellowship and to discuss what's going on.
Polynesian-style deep-sea sailing is tremendously demanding and requires the full participation of each crew member. But like any ship at sea, a voyaging canoe has a chain of command.
The captain has the ultimate authority. What he says goes. The next in command would be the navigator, and the navigator can actually tell the captain where to go in terms of direction, but the captain makes sure that that's done by the crew. Below that, we will generally have 3 watch captains. They are responsible for sailing and making sure that the boat is safe.
Unlike Hikianalia, Hokulea is sailing around the world using only traditional navigation.
Hokulea is a va'akaulua. She's a sailing vessel. There is no motor on it. So in the type of navigation that we do on board that was taught to us by Maupialug, Micronesian navigator, what we actually do is we are consulting the signs of the environment. Before the sun even rises, you're looking at where the sun will rise in the east, and you're looking at the colors in the pre-dawn. And those colors will tell you what kind of weather you're going to be. At the same time, you're reading the ocean surface and the swells, and that's something that's going to stay with you all the way till sunset. Those are your best friends on ocean swells, because it could get super cloudy and you could lose the sun, but those swells will never leave you. And at night, the stars, planets, and the moon. And then at sunrise, we just start all over again with the sun. And the whole thing about it is orientation. Which direction are we heading? The other thing that we're doing for navigation is we're constantly monitoring speed. And we look over the side of the canoe, and from the very first yako or cross member to the back yako is 42 feet. And we count how many seconds it takes for like a patch of foam to travel from the first yako to the back yako. So if it takes 5 seconds for the foam to travel that far, we divide that into 25 and we get 5 knots of speed. So 5 knots in 12 hours, you've actually gone 60 miles. So it requires a constant vigilance. It's a luxury to sleep for 2 hours a day. You get so exhausted, you take a cat nap of about 20 to 30 minutes, and then you get up and you just fight through it. But because of the amount of concentration and responsibility that you have, you'd be amazed that, I mean, just a natural flow. You know, you don't get exhausted to the point where I can't do this, you know? You just carry on.
And for traditional voyaging to continue, the next generation of captains and navigators must be trained.
I was in my 20s when I first started sailing Hokulea. I'm in my 60s now and things. I guess it's time to pass it on to the next generation. That's part of what this voyage is about. Allowing them, giving them the room to attain that leadership that they need to aboard the canoe.
You know, the way we actually do the mentoring is setting them up for a mindset. You know, the stars, the sun, the swells, and this is what you've got to monitor. And then, you know, so you put them to work. You know, if they have questions, and then you just check in with them, you watch them, and you help them. And so at the end of the voyage, they truly have ownership of what was accomplished. It's not like we did it, and they just kind of were helping. It's the other way around.
Once you're out of the side of land at sea, it very distinctly gives you the idea that you're alone, that you are on your own on this big blue platform, and you need to know your stuff. You're in the elements, you're on the journey 24/7, you know, for 30 days, whether you like it or not, you're in it. And that first morning, you wake up and you look around and there's 360 degrees of horizon. It lets you know you're in it and it is on. It has never been more on in your life.
He wa'a, he moku. He moku, he wa'a. A canoe is an island, and an island is a canoe.
The stuff that you get to learn on a canoe, on a wa'a, is like living on an island. You have limited resources. You have to live sustainably. You have to work with each other, and you compare our island to island Earth. That's why we're going around the world, to see how we can gather knowledge from other communities and bring it back home to Hawaii after 3 years, and see how we can learn from others and teach our children so that when they grow up, they know how to take care of their land.
I mean, people who came before us gave us this gift. It's our job to pass it on and to make sure that what our children receive is even better than what was given us.
You know, to care for the planet, it's not an original thought. But Hokulea is going to be that catalyst that kind of just strings us all together like this lane. Bring all these voices that have the same concern, pull it all together.